Eye targets are an incredibly useful way to animate eyes. You can place the rig's eye target to where you want your character to look, and they'll automatically look there. However, compared to an actual eyeball, anime eyes can be concave, and so they need to be rigged a little bit differently. In this video, we'll be making an anime eye target. Also, this is intended for people who have at least some familiarity with Blender's UI and rigging, but I'll try my best to explain what I'm doing. Alright, so I'm going to assume you already have your head rig and your eye rig ready. I'm just going to show you real quickly. For the sake of this video, I'm going to make a very simple head. All this will have is just a head bone and two eye bones. The head bone will be parented to everything except the two eyes, which are these two. I normally like separating my bones into deformed bones, but for the sake of this video, I'll keep it simple. Alright, so the initial placement is done. The eye bones are pointing straight, and preferably in the middle of the eyes. So now we have everything rigged. The head moves along, it moves everything, it moves the eyes. The eye bones are parented to the head. And now we are ready to start. We are going to make the eye targets first. So the easiest way we could do that, I'm going to hide the head. We are going to add a new bone by pressing Shift A. Then I'll rename this bone to eye underscore target. We're pressing 3 to go to this like right side orthographic view. Then press R, 90, press G to move this bone. The length of this bone doesn't really matter, but to make it look good, I'll just set it to 0.1. I think that's good. This part is really important. So our eye target bone needs to be on the same Z axis, or on the same Z level as our eye bone. So this button with the magnet here needs to be set to vertex, so that when you press G and Z and then hold Control, it's going to snap to the vertices of the model, but it also snaps to bones. So if I hide the model, press GZ, then it's going to snap to the bones as well. And this is important because it must be the same level as your eye bones. So I'll just put this here. The distance of your eye target from your eyes doesn't really matter, and there's no like one set distance that you should put them. But for consistency's sake, I'm going to put the bone in the middle of between these two bones. Then press G, Y. I'm going to put, let's say, negative 0.15, maybe a little bit more. This eye target should not have its deform on. It's going to be off. Each bone we make from here on out is going to have deform off, so make sure to turn that off. And it should be off because if you parent automatic weights, your mesh isn't going to be bloated with a whole bunch of bones that aren't going to deform. Press Shift D, then press X, and then press Control so we can snap to our eye bone. Then I'll change the size so it looks better. 0.1. The size doesn't actually matter, but it does bother me, so also change this a little bit smaller. Then we're going to name this bone eye underscore sub. You can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it like this. We'll make it into a new collection, so it's a lot easier to differ, so we can keep hiding our collections. This one will be called eye underscore target. Assign, reassign, so now we can hide everything except our eye targets. This bone should be parented to this bone, so we'll keep that as an offset, and this bone shouldn't have any parents for now. So we are going to create our first mechanical bones. We are going to press Shift D to duplicate this bone, and then press Shift Z so that it locks the Z axis, so that we aren't actually moving this on the up and down scale. Select the tail of the bone, press G and Control so it can snap to this bone. Make sure it is not snapping to any other bone or anything apart from that, so it's on the same level. Make sure the roll is still 0. You're going to want to place the head of the bone at a good angle so that this entire bone has a good angle with your eyes. So, and that depends on your character. So for this character, you can see how I'll draw it out. This eye is kind of like this, right? So our bone needs to be somewhat like that. It doesn't need to be exactly like that, but it is good so that when your character moves their eyes from left to right, then it's not going to like pop out of its socket or go too far back And so it's important to have this imaginary line that your bone is rotating from. So like it's going from here. It's actually doing is going from, okay, I forgot I can't control C this. It's going from here to here, which is good enough. You can always change it later in the process. There is no like, you don't need to commit to this right now. So I feel like this is good enough for this character. It might depend on your own character, but you can always change it later. We are going to name this bone I_MCH, which is the mechanical bone. Actually, we'll name this to I_MCH1. You can name this however you want. You can have mech-I. The naming isn't really set in stone. This is just how I like to name my bones. We'll create another mechanical bone. So Shift D to duplicate the I bone. Then we'll press S and then type in 0.5. So it can differentiate from the original I bone. We'll name this one I_MCH2. Our original I bone will be parented to this bone. So press the I bone and then the I_MCH2 bone. Control P, keep offset. We're going to create our third mechanical bone. So we'll press Shift D, then we'll press S. And let's make this bigger than the previous one. So 1.5. And then we'll name this bone I_MCH3. The bones we have made still have deform on and are in the collection that we don't want. So we'll hide the original I bone. We'll select all of our bones that we just made. Make a new collection. Just call this I_MCH. Assign that. Remove its assignment from the other collection. And then in this deform, it's on. We want it off. So we'll turn that off. And then press right click and copy to selected so that every bone that we have selected has deform off. Also, all of these bones will be parented to the head. So we'll go ahead and reveal the head again. Select all these bones, then the head. Press Control P to keep offset. We hit our I bone, so we'll press Alt H to reveal it again. And then we'll just hide the collection. Now we are going to add constraints to our mechanical bones, so they actually act as mechanics. I'm going to switch from edit mode to pose mode. It is important to be in pose mode because you can only do this in pose mode. We are going to hide a mechanical 3 bone. Then we're going to select our mechanical 1 bone, then mechanical 2 bone, and then press Control Shift C and add a copy location constraint. Set this value to 1 so it copies the tail. And I'm just going to show you this real quick. Notice how when I move this bone, mechanical 1, our eye moves, but it does not rotate. And this is important because we don't want our eye to pop out of its socket. But if you do prefer to have this rotate, then you can just delete the mechanical bone 2 entirely, and then get your eye bone and parent it to mechanical 1, and then your eye will now rotate along. I don't prefer this, but if you do want it, then that's how you do it. Back to pose mode, we're going to select our eye sub, and then mechanical bone 2, Control Shift Z, and copy scale. This is so that when we scale our sub, then it also scales our eye. I think it's better if I show you this. We scale our sub, it scales our eye. You can see that it does this because we have our copy scale constraint here. We press Alt and H to reveal mechanical 3 again. Then we're going to select our sub target again, then mechanical 3, and Control Shift C, a damp track constraint. Then we're going to select mechanical 3, then mechanical 1, Control Shift C, a copy rotation constraint. Now our eye is going to move somewhere, so we'll set it to local space, and then set the influence to 0.1 for now. Now, when we move our eye sub bone, our eye now follows our eye sub. Now the amount that your eye follows depends on your model, and this is because this modifier that we added in mechanical 1, this influence is set to 0.1, so 10%. So this bone, mechanical 3, is pointing to our eye sub bone fully, and mechanical 1 is copying that by 10%. And this is the reason why we have this here, is because it's a lot better for the targeting, so that it's set in the middle of the eye instead of back here. If you want to change the amount, you can change the influence right here, and this amount depends on your character. On this character, I found 0.1 to be pretty good. Also, if you're not liking how the eye is going at your angle, I feel like this is pretty adequate. You can, like how I mentioned earlier, you can always go back to edit mode, select your mechanical 1 bone, and then move this bone however you like. I'm pretty satisfied with how this is going. This is a pretty good angle. What is honestly a model by model case. When you're animating, you can also still move the eyes. So you can move the eyes like this, however you want, whatever. So now we are going to symmetrize our bones. You can see it's applied to our left side, but not our right side. Looks looking kind of goofy. So go to edit mode. We're gonna select all the bones we made on our right side, or left side. So these are all the left side bones. And then we're gonna go to names, and then auto name left, right. We're including our eyes here so that it's included in when we symmetrize. Press symmetrize, and then now our bones are on our right side. So if I go here, then we now have very nice eye targets. When you're testing around which way your eyes is going to look, both of these bones are going to have separate influences, and a way to make that a little bit easier is to right click this one, copy as new driver, and then paste that driver to this one. So now when I change this one, then it changes both of them. Really get your eyes to be really good and where you want to point them. So just test out different angles, like maybe not just the front angle, but also the 45-degree angle, maybe from below, from above, and then keep fine tweaking these, the influence, so that you get the result that you really like. And like I said earlier, it's a model by model basis, so there's not going to be any one influence that encompasses all models. But for this character, I feel like this is adequate. And now we're going to use the bone widget add-on. And if you don't have this add-on, you can always go to edit preference, add extensions, then go to bone widget. It's going to be here. It's going to say something like install, but you are going to need to have online access, or you can get it online. I believe it's on GitHub, but I really highly recommend using the bone widget add-on. It is so useful for making custom bone shapes. So if I wanted to add an eye target here, like eye target 2, then I just select it, create, and there's my eye target. I can always adjust it, so let's say 1.25. I'll select my eye sub, and then where is it? Circle. This one is a little bit off, so I'll go back here, and then I'll... Alright, that's good enough. And I'll symmetrize the shape and make all of this red. So now we have beautified our eye target. Looks real nice, really nice. You'll notice that rotating this doesn't actually do anything. So we'll just lock this so that the animator can't rotate it. So here's a little bit of a problem. Our head, when we rotate it, our eye target doesn't actually follow the head. And now, on many occasions that we actually want this to happen, but on some occasions we actually might want the eye target to follow the head. And this is where it gets complicated, because now we need to have a space switcher or a parent switcher. Now I'm not going to go over it that much because it's a little too complex for this video, and I'll probably go over it in some other video, but for now I'll give you a watered down solution. We're going to go to edit mode, and we're going to add another mechanical bone to our eye target this time. So we'll press Shift D, and we'll make this 0.5. We'll add it to the MCH collection. The eye target will be parented to this bone, and I didn't name this, so I'll just name this eye target underscore mechanical. On this new bone, we're going to go back to pose mode, and it actually has our custom things, so I'm going to get rid of that. We're going to add an armature bone constraint, and then add a target bone, an object will be our armature, and then this will be the head. Now, when you move the head, it moves along with the head, but if you don't want it to move with the head, then you can just set it to 0, and it won't move with the head. It's easier if I show this to you like this. There you go. It's gonna like snap from the head to where it was originally. And this is an animatable property, so you can add a keyframe to it and then animate it in whatever animation you have. I would like this to keep facing the face, something like this. It makes the eyes a lot more consistent, since if it's like this, then you can see that the eyes are kind of just a very, very subtly not looking how we might want it to. I mean, like, this is a bit more obvious. You see, if I rotate this, then, you know, it looks kind of weird. We would like this eye target to keep facing our face. We're going to add another mechanical bone we'll just use this one this time, and then make it smaller. Rename it to it's a typo, I_target ch2. And I'll rename this to 1 because I forgot. It's very important that the original eye target no longer inherits from its parent. So we're going to disable inherit rotation. We're going to go back to pose mode. Our new MCH bone, or our new mechanism or mechanical bone that we just made, is still going to have this armature constraint, so we can just delete that. Select our mechanical bone 2, then our eye target bone, then press Ctrl-Shift-C, and copy rotation. Make sure this bone is parented to the head, which it is not. Our mechanical bone 2 should be parented to the head, and there we go. Because this bone is following our face now, this will copy the rotation of this bone. Now, it does come with the downside of not being able to rotate, but you could use add and you will be able to rotate it. But do be careful, because there are a little bit of artifacts here. So if I rotate it like this, then it kind of like snaps like that, and that's not something that we want. So I like to set it to replace and then make it so that the animator can't actually rotate it. And there we go. That is our eye rig. Let me hide our mechanicals. Looking real nice, real consistent. I can scale this, scale that, do whatever, make some changes if I still need to. I had forgotten to mention, if we scale this eye target, then it also scales this. Maybe we don't actually want that, so if we go to our eye mechanical bone and select our mechanical 2 bone, then set this to local space, so that it only copies this, but not, if I could select this so that when we scale our eye target, it doesn't actually scale our eyes. I actually prefer it this way, and I forgot to show y'all. This is how I like to make my eye rigs, but I also want to encourage you to start tinkering around with the things I showed you in this video, so that it'll be to your own preferences. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope this was helpful for you. If it did, please leave a like. I hope I explained everything well. You're free to leave a comment if you have any questions, or anything you want me to go over that doesn't need to be related to rigging. I do have a couple of videos in mind that I want to do, and they may or may not come out soon. I don't know. That's like all the more reason for you to subscribe, and that's all I have to say. Bye.